And we're live. So I'm here with my brother in Christ, Pete. And just to let you know, Pete, anything you say or do can and will be recorded. But
That's fine. That's fine.
this whole thing with like the race wars and stuff like that, I predicted this on my Facebook page like
I saw
a day or two
a
before this
lot of
happened.
people were predicting it too.
Oh yeah. Well, no, a lot of people were predicting martial law. They're like, "Oh, martial law is coming." They didn't even spell it right.
Yep.
Martial, like as in martial arts. Oh gosh. And they're like, they're gonna implement martial law.
Right.
But as a matter of fact, I'm looking on my Facebook news feed right now, and there's been several Black Lives Matters protests in several different states.
Yeah, including mine.
New Jersey?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's all over the place.
Oh yeah, I heard this in my state too, which is Pennsylvania. I live in Philly, so.
Hmm. And there were 4 cops shot today.
Really?
In Tennessee, there was one. In Missouri, there was one, and in Georgia, there were 2. This guy in Georgia actually called the cops, and when they got to his place, he shot them both. They both lived though, and then in Tennessee, this guy was on the highway and was trying to shoot cops. I don't remember what happened in Missouri.
I didn't hear about it, but then again, I was watching CNN in the morning, and then I just started watching some movies. Man, I can't be worried about this stuff all day. They got a life
Hmm.
outside of what's going on with these people, with people getting shot and stuff like that. Oh gosh! And then black people are getting mad at little innocent white people, and then white people are getting mad at innocent black people. It's just so stupid, and like both sides, they can't see past each other's hatred and venomous that we can't even get anything done. And the crazy part about it is the black people, my people, every time something like this happens, we always respond the wrong way. We
I'm gonna
always
agree.
respond. Oh, yeah, we always respond with hold on, let me share my screen with you. You're not gonna be able to hear it. Forget it. But I'm watching right now. Uh, Channel 2 in Atlanta, they're doing a live broadcast and they're saying people are marching in the street. Ooh, people are marching in the street. The media is the main culprit that's been riling people up because they've been showing us the same images, the same stories, the same video footage over and over and over again. And they
Mhm.
just been replaying it. And that puts a psychological or it puts a psychological effect in people's mind where something that really isn't as big as it is being blown so out of proportion because it's being replayed over and over and over again. All
Exactly.
of this, right? All of this is very well crafted and orchestrated. It's not by mistake. I don't believe in coincidence. Batman doesn't believe in coincidence either.
Here's the deal, though, with the reaction from African Americans. There's the Martin Luther King way to do it, which I agree with, and then there's the Asada Shakur and Malcolm X way to do it, which would be violence and racism. But that isn't how Martin Luther King did it. His was through peace, and well, it worked really well.
People also got to realize too, this isn't as much physical as it is spiritual too. I was watching some different TV shows or not reality shows. They were like TV talk shows. And these were some old programs that came on probably about like I'll say a good 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Hmm.
And if you ever heard about the John Ankerberg show, which is the same show that Ken Hovind had his debate on with Hugh Ross, John Ankerberg, he had a segment on one of his programs where he was exposing Freemasonry. And he also was talking about the KKK and all these different cults. And what us as Christians have to realize too is that these police organizations and even organizations like Black Lives Matter, the people behind these organizations are Freemasons, KKK affiliates, witches,
Oh yeah.
warlocks,
Oh, George
spellbinders.
Soros. If you look, George Soros funded the Ferguson riots, $35 million. Okay, this is the same tactic they use all over the world to basically destabilize a country and just take it over. It's a globalist agenda here, and it's not going to stop until the public becomes informed. But if you look, your average person that you're going to meet is going to be uninformed. They're going to think that the cops are just killing droves of black people, and they're not going to know anything.
I'm looking at this live footage right now. Hold on, let me turn my volume up and see what's going on. Nothing is really going on right now, but the media is building up civilians' anticipation and getting them in their feelings because they keep on showing this stuff. There was an interview with Morgan Freeman, and I like Morgan Freeman's answer to the interviewer's question.
Oh,
The
I remember
interview,
this. Yeah,
yeah, the interviewer, he goes and he asks, "Well, what can we do about racism?" And Morgan Freeman says, "We stop talking about it."
exactly. Right, well, that was what, the Black History Month, right?
Yeah, yeah, because every time we talk about it, it just takes us back. And every time we start talking about this race thing and ethnicity, it always takes us back as a people, not just black people, but I'm talking about the human race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the reasons why God probably used evolution is because he doesn't want people to ride this mighty horse, people to get on their little high and mighty. I mean, for the love of God, we came from a boiling hot pond. We are made of stardust. So, I mean, we shouldn't be talking about how we're better than anybody. We all came from the soupy goo.
Or a rock.
Nah, we didn't come from rocks. We came from the prebiotic oceans.
Or we're just aliens and we just don't know it.
I'm not an alien. I am
Well,
an alien. I'm a pretty.
wait, who was it that believes
Oh,
that?
Lord. Hold on, bro. These niggas acting crazy again. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Let me share my screen. These niggas just acting up again. I can't with my people. And yes, I said nigga. Yes, I did. Because that's what they're acting like. They're acting like ghetto hood rat niggas right now. I'm tired of it. Like, my people just can't chill. We just can't stop. Like, what is wrong with us?
I'd like to take it back, if I can, to Erica Byfield. Erica, you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
What sort of conversations are you hearing among? You said when we spoke with you a few minutes ago that people were starting to get tired. Update, please.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. I mean, it's just expression of their body language. A lot of people are now sitting on the ground. It's more like a silent protest now. We're seeing fists raised in the air. I don't know if my photographer can pan over here. It may be a little hard for you guys to see in the dark, but I can see it from my vantage point. There are people who are just standing up there. Most of them have their right fist. I see one person with their left up in the air. And then people just below them are actually sitting on the ground. They're each displaying their signs. From what I can see from here, none of them are talking. It's kind of just a silent moment. They're trying to express themselves in that way. And that's completely different from what we've been seeing on the front lines where people are yelling at the police officers. Here, there may be a difference because there are no police officers here and they're basically just demonstrating amongst themselves. Up there, again, there's that tension, there's that anger that several of them have told us that they felt. But here, this is why I would describe it as people getting tired, people being more calm. And I guess this is what the police would like to see. So again, moments ago, I told you that I talked to an officer that I know who works for the Atlanta Police Department, and I was asking them why they all pulled out of here, because when they did, it was really loud. They turned on their lights and sirens and they turned their cars away and then they backed off. So when I had an opportunity to walk up and speak to him, he didn't want to go into detail, but he said it was a kind of a tactical decision. If we're sitting back and we're assessing that situation, it seems like maybe they thought that if they backed off a little bit, some of these people would disperse. They might be right about that because the crowd has thinned out quite a bit. So again, right now we're seeing kind of two main groups of people. As I look around myself, there's the group that's still up there on the front lines, and then there's the group here that's kind of lining Ivan Allen Drive right at William Street in Atlanta with their fists raised, signs held high. So those are kind of two different protests in one right now. Justin.
Erica, have you gotten any indication from talking to folks out there what their plan is, how long they plan to stay out here? Are they specifically saying, or do you think there isn't really an end game planned?
I don't know if there's a specific end game. I asked one girl what her plan was. She told me she's going to stay and she thinks that this is the way that she can get her message across. I asked her what her message was, and she said she kind of repeated what we've been hearing from a lot of people out here, that she feels like the police are targeting members of her community. She feels like that needs to stop. That group that I was telling you that was sitting here that had their fists raised and the signs in the air, for some reason they're all now standing up, they're chanting, and they're walking back towards, not all of them, some of them are still seated, a big group of them are standing up and they're walking now towards that larger group that's in the back that's kind of toe-to-toe with the police officers. If I inch out a little bit away from my photographer, I can see that there's a sizable group.
Large is what I experienced when I first arrived at the scene, but I'd still say it's pretty sizable.
You hear me now?
Yep.
So I just want to touch on the fact that it's really strange how, and I didn't put this out there on the internet or on my Facebook page, but, to my friends who I've been talking to about this, I've been saying the same thing again and again and again. And this is probably the first time you're probably going to hear me say something like this too, but it doesn't even seem like, because people start off these sentences, it seems to me, or I feel as if the fact of the matter is, my people, black people, we're protesting, we're rioting, we are speaking against quote unquote police brutality, and we're doing all these different things to get different messages across, but there is not really an end game, end goal. What's the end game? What's the end goal? What do you want? You're protesting, you're marching, you're taking people to court, you're making Facebook videos. But what do you want to be done about this? What is your end goal that you all have in mind? Because it seems to me you guys are just marching and marching and marching just for the hell of it. Honestly, really. Pete, you're in here twice.
Can you hear me now?
You're in here twice. Let me boot the other one of you.
Sure. The one that is not talking.
Yeah, the one that's not talking.
Right. Cool. That's it.
So it seems to me, the fact of the matter is, not it seems, the fact is, black people do not have a end goal. They don't have an end. Like, okay, you're protesting, you're marching, you're screaming, obscenities at police and etc. Cool, great. You're upset that you feel afraid of the police. But then what? What's next? I was reading an article done by EX Ministries. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If you guys go on Facebook and you type in The Religion of Reason, you'll find our Facebook page on there. And I had shared a post on that page that was originally written by G. Craig Lewis. He is the founder of EX Ministry. That was the ministry that actually got me saved back in 2009. I still remember the night I got saved, October 30th, 10 o'clock at night, 2009. And I actually did just find it too. But G. Craig Lewis, he wrote in his post, and I actually quoted it. I'm going to share my screen. And if you look right here, I basically had quoted this from the article. And G. Craig says this. He says, haven't you noticed that almost every racial protest is led by black women? Isn't it obvious that the issue is the lack of strong black men? Come on, people, don't be deceived. All we keep on seeing are women being riled up in their emotions, riled up in their unrational reasons for going out and protesting and saying what they're saying. And it's not for a wrong woman speaking, but the Bible makes it clear, and even results from nature itself makes it clear that men need to lead. And when men do not lead, this is what we see happening over and over and over again in the black community. Number one, we see little boys raising up, trying to be men who become little terrorists, becoming violent in the community. And I said this before. When we don't have any strong fathers in the household, we see women being raised up by weak men, weak effeminate men, and they lead the other men based off of their emotions and how they feel. So now we have a whole culture of black people being led by women, terrorized by children, with no strong black men. Did I articulate that right, Pete? Was that perfect or what?
Yeah, that basically explains why there's a lot of crime in the black culture. I mean, if you look at it, 90% of blacks that get murdered are murdered by blacks.
Oh yeah. I actually have a better chance right now of walking outside my house and getting shot by a black man than by a cop. That's why I'm not afraid to run into a cop.
Oh yeah. Cops kill so few people per year, and almost every single one is justified. And what is it, like 51% of people that get killed by cops are white, 52%, with 31% being black. So there's really nothing to fight about here if you're in the Black Lives Matter crowd.
Well, Black Lives Matters is a terrorist group, and I just want to say that on record. It is a terrorist group, and it's funded by the guy George Soros, who basically is like what? He's like a top Illuminati member.
Straight up, this guy is awful, awful.
But the real solution I'm gonna give a few solutions, and the last one is going to be the best solution. But for Black people who do want justice in their communities, number one, we need to start policing ourselves. We can't keep on relying on calling the police to take care of all our issues. Then at the same time, because a lot of police districts and departments are around our communities, you gotta understand, me being real, a lot of those cops in those departments and in those districts and communities, they cannot relate to Black people. They don't know a lot about Black culture. They are white males or females. They don't know a lot about Black people. And so for them to communicate with our culture and our community and try and help us to the best of their ability, they can only do but so much because they really don't understand the culture because they are not Black. But it's hard to police ourselves when we have this rule in the community where we, got to stop snitching. And if we got somebody just selling crack across the street from us, we don't want to step up and say anything. We know somebody down the street that's beating their wife, and we don't want to step up and say anything. We got all this crime and all this drama going around our neighborhoods. And instead of us stepping up to the plate and being good civilians, being good citizens, being good people, stopping these fights instead of pulling out our phones and recording it for World Star, jumping people, having sex and having kids out of wedlock in the Black community. Instead of us policing ourselves and doing the right thing for ourselves, we can't do that. It seems like if somebody in the hood is doing good for themselves, where they have a good little career, they don't have a baby mom, or it's a female and she don't have a baby father, or there's somebody in the hood that just want to live right for the Lord, we got hate on them. So that's one of the first things that got to change. We got to start being able to police ourselves. And when I say police ourselves, I mean we need to first be able to resolve conflicts amongst each other. Why do we always need to go out and get the police or go down to the city hall and try and get our baby fathers and etc. to start paying child support? How come we can't have civil discussions and conversations amongst each other and reason amongst each other like normal effing people do? Am I right, Pete?
Yeah, and you know why? It's because, and here's the thing, I hate to say it, but they fall for the left's rhetoric every single time. That's why you have so many Black Democrats. Don't they know that the Democrats were the ones in support of slavery? And they still are with socialism. They're social there.
Let me tell you something too, bro.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Black people don't know the Democrats made the KKK.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And if you look, Hillary Clinton, one of her mentors was a member of the KKK, a very high-ranking member of the KKK as well. She doesn't care about Black lives when she wants to support abortion, right? When 53% of Black babies get aborted. You don't care about Black lives when you want over half of them to die.
Oh, no. And Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, she's the reason why so many Black people got their Black cousins in prison right now. Don't people know that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they were signing off laws and documents where there's certain particular laws, like drug laws, where the Clintons had a lot to do with this, which is the war on drugs, which actually the drugs got bought over here by the government.
Yep.
That's a whole nother broadcast in of itself. Sounds like conspiracy, but it's strange.
Oh, it's not. No, it's total legit.
It was the dude, Freeway Rick Ross. I'm not, P. I don't know if you know about this dude. Not Leslie, not that Rick Ross, who was a security guard. I'm talking about the dude's identity that Rick Ross, the rapper, stole. Freeway Rick Ross. You guys can look him up. I think some of his stuff is still out there on YouTube. But Freeway Rick Ross, he was like, yeah, the FBI, they were the ones who bought these drugs over from Afghanistan through these ports. And the FBI was actually distributing these drugs to black people so black people could destroy their own communities. A whole nother story.
Right.
But
And do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. Starting screen share. I'm loading. I just want to share my screen. Do you see what I'm looking at right now?
Oh yeah, Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Mm-hmm. What happened was our government, this is how much they care about black people, they took 600 poor black males, or I don't know if they were just males. No, okay. There were, so basically what happens is they give them syphilis and they did not treat them just to see what syphilis would do to the body, okay? And many of them died. This is how our government cares.
You know, what's funny too, one of the pastors who I listen to, I don't agree on every one of his doctrines and terms and etc. But I'm presenting you my bad. Here you go. But one of the pastors I listen to, Pastor Stephen Darby at Destin Ministries, he says something that actually I do agree with. He said whenever the government wants to test something out, one of the first communities they test anything out on is black people, black communities, black districts. But what I do want to say too is I was talking about Freeway Rick Ross and how the FBI basically they were the ones who bought in all these drugs and stuff to our communities. The FBI systematically works with the music industry and they put out certain types of music specifically towards the black community so that the black community can become self-destructive. And people obviously won't believe me just from hearing me, but if you do your research, you'll find out that these record labels are actually not owned just by white people. They're owned by Jewish people. And this is so significant because there are a certain minority of Jewish people who have pledged themselves. I'm talking about the Kabbalah Jews who actually are racist supremacists. They have made pledges and oaths where they actually want to destroy black people. And so what they do is they raise up artists, they raise up rappers and singers that are destructive towards the black community where they sing or rap a certain message. That music is popular. And I'll tell you what, this music, it doesn't even have to be good music. I personally know the new rapper that's getting all this buzz now. His name is Lil Uzi Vert. I went to school with him. We grew up together in Philly. Lil Uzi Vert.
Right.
This dude looks so different now. He got dreadlocks with purple hair, running around with a pocketbook. And I mean, his stuff is somewhat good, but I know another guy in my city. He's somewhat like a record producer, and he was saying, you know, if this cat didn't have the connections that he had, he wouldn't have been as famous as he is right now. So it's not the talent that got him to be as famous as he is. It was him rubbing shoulders with people that got him as famous as he is now.
Sold out. Yeah.
And if you ask me, it's people like that who people personally know growing up in the hood, going to school with them, and they get raised up to a certain level when they get older, and they do become untouchable because they become unreachable. When people get raised up, when people get famous, it's hard to get a hold of them. It's hard to contact them. And so I can't even really reach out to this dude and say, hey, man, don't you know what you're doing? You know, don't you know you're hurting the black community? Don't you know by promoting the type of music that you're promoting right now, you're shaping the minds of a generation so they can go out and commit murder and lasciviousness and malice.
Mm-hmm.
And so the black community has been systematically targeted for the guinea pigs of every experiment. Whenever the government needs to experiment anything new on any type of people, the first type of people they tested out on is black people. But also what I want black people understand also as well is these race wars, this civil race war that's going on right now, it's not by coincidence that all these different events are happening. Whether you want to say that it's a spiritual hand that's being played right now by the powers that be, maybe it's satanic, because people should understand that there are satanic elitists in our government who, they pray and they go and fast and they have sacrifices and stuff. They have churches where they go and they have certain seances and all types of supernatural weird events where they do all these different things so they can create an atmosphere of evil.
Right.
So that's the main thing. I want to see if I can find a video on this too. Let me see if I can find something like this on YouTube. But there definitely are, there definitely is like a spiritual hand behind all of this. But besides just the spiritual, also the natural thing too is both sides of the fence need to be smarter than what they are right now. They need to be more cunning. They need to have more wisdom. They need to have more knowledge on certain things before they just act on these things. Because this is how wars start. This is literally how wars start. One side isn't getting their point across right, and the other side isn't getting their point across right. And as a matter of fact, talking about wars, if you guys don't know this, you guys can look this up. Meyer Rothschild, he's the guy who basically was behind the whole Federal Reserve banking system cartel. If you guys don't know anything about that, you guys can look that up as well. Meyer Rothschild, there's a quote from him, and he says this. He says, "I care not who makes the laws, for whoever has the money, they control the laws." Then he went on to say, "If my sons did not want war, there would not be any war." Well, why would he say something like that? Because when people create wars, you create money because you create debt.
Right.
What did Jesus say? Which is still one of the truest things to this day.
Those
The
who hate
love of money. Yep, the love of money is the root of all evil. And some translations say all
Wasn't
kinds
that
of
Paul?
evil. Huh?
Wasn't that Paul?
That was Jesus. That was Jesus in Matthew. He said the love of money is the root of all evil. And then some translations say the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, which I actually say, I think that's more precise.
That was 1 Timothy 6:10.
Jesus said that too. Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually looking for a video right now. I don't want to put on like some crazy, just like Illuminati exposed video. I think I'm gonna just put on let's see. Maybe not, because I don't even want to get a copyright strike. But yeah, man, there's definitely people high up in the rankings and stuff like that who get their little orders and stuff from demons and all that stuff. So like I think Christians should be worried about that. And we don't hear a lot of Christians talking about stuff like this. Like, hey, don't you know that there are people up in the higher up in a higher echelons who get excited when stuff like this goes down? Don't you people know that there are literal warlocks and witches and satanic high priests that actually get their rocks off when we have divisions like this? Don't you guys know that a kingdom divided can't stand, like Jesus said?
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy. Let me see if I can find this freaking video. He was a warlock. He was a real life warlock, and he actually got out of that life, and he became a Catholic.
That's
Not
not
a Christian.
anything else, honestly.
What you say?
Catholicism isn't much better than atheism, in my opinion.
Atheist. People were saying that Charlie Sheen was a warlock. I don't know about that.
A warlock? What?
Yeah, a warlock is just like a male witch, somebody casting spells and stuff like that. But in America, we think that's so uncommon though.
What, like witchcraft?
Witchcraft,
Oh, I
spellbinding.
personally know people who practice that. I couldn't say that they've done anything spectacular, but it's more of a superstition. No?
I actually did share something like this on the Religion and Reason page. I shared a good one too. It's a little old, but I definitely did share some nuggets of wisdom on there. Let me see. It shouldn't be that far down on our page. Almost down there. Come on, come on.
Oh my gosh. Almost 2,000
What?
people saw the video.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, I gotta add like me and Han Solo to that, don't I?
Yeah, how come you didn't do that?
Oh, because at the time of the video, I didn't know it was a 2v2, but when I heard it was a 2v2, I'm like, geez, let's see if I could get in this. So yeah, I could add us in.
Just make sure when you do it like next time around, right? Make sure that the volume isn't so loud so you can hear our voices.
Right. Okay, I'll make the song volume lower.
Oh, and also too, you probably want to put something in there about it be on our Mario's channel.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I'll do that.
Give him his credit. I'm going down as far as I can. Why can't I find this video? Oh my goodness.
Man, that 2-minute video took me like 6 hours to make. It was ridiculous.
Because you had to look at like my video and Ken's video and find out like what you wanted us to say and etc.
Oh yeah, it took me hours just to research just like what, like 5-second sayings. It was ridiculous. But I had to watch entire like things, but it was cool. It was fun. It was actually fun.
Ken's video made you get 3 times dumber. No,
Man, I think that he's really good when it comes to that stuff, like with sound bites. You know what I mean? Like if there's like things you want to put into a video, it's pretty easy to find his stuff. But with you don't say like hash phrase type things. You know what I mean? That where he'll kind of have a punchline. Like we have 2 different opinions here. One of them is wrong, and I like showing them who they are. That is something like, oh yeah, I love putting that in the video because he says. Or,
yeah, he
that's
does.
not my wife. It's just a picture of her. You know? 3 kids, 1 of each.
Oh, speaking of YouTube videos, I'm looking at my history of different YouTube videos I watched, and I did watch this trailer for Pete's Dragon, the Disney movie.
I've heard of that.
Oh my goodness. That thing freaked me out. I was watching Finding Nemo, and all I know is this was in the previews, Pete's Dragon. Oh my gosh, I was no more good, bro.
What, it's a scary Disney movie?
Well, no, it's not a scary Disney movie, but the images and stuff was just creepy. Like, have you ever seen the movie Where the Wild Things Are?
Yeah.
Okay. The preview for that movie was like the preview for Where the Wild Things Are.
All right. I could see how that could creep people out. Oh, you know what was actually creepy? Remember that movie Coraline?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that movie well. My little sister wanted to see that movie. That little creepy movie.
Oh my god, I would not want to see that in the theaters. I'll be honest, that could give me nightmares.
Yeah, man. Let me see. All right, I got this video now. I got it. I got you, you son of a gun. All right, I'm about to start playing it. I got to start having these things ready on hand like the radio broadcasters do. All right, so here's the video of this guy. This was from the 1950s, and he's talking about his experience with witchcraft, and he got in deep, and there's a secret fraternity. So here we go.
or working for you somewhere, or you don't get ahead in this world. Not in my type of occupation. So it went from there. We got talking about spirit worship.
Did it intrigue you? Did it make you want to find out more about what exactly he was talking about?
Yeah. So he said the supposed spirits of the dead that you're talking with are demon spirits. You're fallen angels. You're beautiful beings.
Just set it out, just like
that.
Yeah.
It didn't make you uneasy when he said they were.
Well, you know, it shocked you a little bit. You know, something that you first hear mentioned to you. He said, "You guys have got a great future ahead of you, because we've been told, the high priest of our society, secret society, has been told that the master has very special plans for you two."
Now, what did he mean by the master?
Satan. And we were interested to hear more about it. And he told us, he says, "Look, we worship spirits. We worship Lucifer and all his angels. They're just as beautiful as they did before they were cast out of heaven." He says there was a misunderstanding in the whole thing. He says among the inhabitants of the galaxies. And he says our master was misunderstood. And God did not bear with him like he does with people that make mistakes today. So we're in a warfare, good against evil. And we happen to be the evil ones, but we're not that bad. He says, I look at this business between the forces of good and evil. He says, you believe in one person believe in God, and everyone believes in Lucifer. It's like politics.
So the great controversy is real. And you've heard someone talk about it that's on the other side.
And to these people, they are sold to the fact that Christ will not return to this planet with power and great glory. He's going to abdicate all claims to the planet, because the high priest once said that Christ will abdicate all claim to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully and rightfully Satan's. And at that time, he says, Lucifer, you mentioned Lucifer a lot of times, but they mention Satan also. He says, the master, usually they like to talk about the master will resurrect his people from the grave.
And George is telling you all this, or the high priest?
George.
Okay, when the evening wound down, and you're putting a cap on all that, you guys had consumed some alcohol.
Yeah.
And did you feel like that it was kind of a one-shot deal? You didn't know if it ever happened again? What happened after that?
He said, no, I said, listen, guys. He said, I like to have you, says, meet some of our people. What about next week, Wednesday evening? I'll pick you up at your place, and you're invited to one of our services.
Services? Like a church service?
Yeah, something similar like that. It's a testimonial to the spirits, well, how the spirits have blessed your life. So when we left there, I said to myself, this guy is half drunk. I'm not going to hear from him again, you know. But it was true. Wednesday night came, he was there with his big Lincoln, step in, and we went to one of the most beautiful area of Montreal. And the place was a mansion. Now, a mansion is usually very large. We call this a small mansion. It was beautiful. Most beautiful place. Yeah.
Roger, your friend George took you and Roland to this mansion where people worshipped the demons. What was it like there? What kind of people were there?
Well, it was a big surprise for me, as I kind of made up in my mind an idea that they were going to be rough-looking characters. But as we entered the place, I was amazed to see that they were all very well dressed, well mannered, and that a lot of the people, as we were being introduced to people, were professionals, doctors, attorneys, a lot of business people. And see what they had a praise session to the gods, which is the spirit counselors. which are in charge of legions of spirits, of demon spirits, and they talk about what the Lord of their lives has done for them, because they call on particular spirits, like the god Nehushtan, which you read in 2 King about. The Israelites worshipped the golden serpent that Moses had made. Well, behind the spirit worship, behind that, they were worshiping the serpent. They were actually worshiping this spirit Nehushtan. And the same spirit Nehushtan is, the priest was telling us, that the medical doctor that was telling us how he was making operations that had never been made before, because people had to be awake, have no feeling. He was able to, carry on the surgeries that had not been done before. But the spirits would give that capacity to be able to operate without people feeling any pain. And also without no problem with the blood, because as he would cut his incision, because the incisions, everything open and with no blood running. So he could do the work that has not been done before. So.
Now, I recall reading in your book that at this praise worship service they would sing hymns. Why would they sing hymns in a demon worship?
Yeah, this was kind of a big surprise to me when that took place. The priest said, "Hey, let's go down to the worship room of the gods and have a praise session, a singing session." So we go down there, and what did you think they pass around? Church hymnals, Christian church hymnals. And I couldn't believe this. I said, "What's his business?" So the priest says, "Well, now," he says, "for those of you that are new, let me tell you that this is the most feasible way," he says, "to please the spirits. It's to deride Christ and his people, and his church and all that." So they sing out of Christian hymnals.
They didn't sing Christian words to the hymns, however.
Well, they changed a lot of them. Yeah,
and not
it's a form of blasphemy. Yeah. Such as you see today in the rock music world. You see the entertainers, they have these crosses. The ladies got earrings, crosses. The guys got the cross. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ. You see, spirits cause the people to do that, to find pleasure in wearing this type of emblem, which is the cross is the emblem of the crucifixion of Christ to the Christians.
So what were your impressions the first time you went down into that worship room?
Well, it was, we'd been there maybe half a dozen times, and the high priest told us after the meeting was over, he wanted to talk to us, my friend and I. So after most people had left, he says, "The master of my life has revealed to me that it is time for you people to become acquainted with the worship room of the gods." Well, we started to move toward a beautiful grand staircase. Beautiful. The banister was huge. It was massive, and the wrought iron work that they had done was super. The beautiful decorations on the walls, the chandelier on the first landing. It was the first landing. You go down about 8 or 10 steps, and you had the first landing. It was huge and beautiful. The light arrangement was the nicest I had ever seen in my life. When we got into this sanctuary area, it wasn't very brightly lit, but everything was magnified. The beauty of certain things, like a lot of the things were gold plated or gold trims. See, the little altars where they had the spirits that had materialized. They photographed them, and then they had paintings made of them. And there was probably about maybe 100 of those around the place.
Sort of like a shrine.
Yeah, and underneath there was a little altar where you have incense and things that they would use in their prayer sessions and things like that, devotions to certain spirits. And some of the objects in there, the priest said, were solid gold. It was a unique experience to see that.
So how did you feel when you walked into that room?
I felt that these people had power, and they had a lot of it.
Did that attract you?
Yes and no.
You had mixed feelings about it.
I had mixed feelings about it. Yeah. Because to a certain extent, things looked so good. It sounded so good to us. But you see, I'd been brought up in a Christian home where my parents had told us we were 8 children in the family. And especially the older ones, you know. My dad says, well, you know, if you get involved in wrongdoing, you're going to have to pay the price. There's always a cost for everything in this world. So this thought kept creeping to my mind. Just how far you go with these spirits before we start paying the price. See?
So it made you just a little bit nervous.
Oh, yes.
But yet you kept going back.
Oh, there was no way out. Because that's what we're told.
You knew at that time.
Yeah.
So you were moving forward more on fear.
More on fear, yes. Because the high priest said that the master had special plans for us in our lives. And that no one ever went into this society unless they were invited by the spirits. See, so that was made very clear. And he also expressed to us the danger, explained to us the danger of going against the will of the spirits. And he mentioned about this one man and his wife that live in a fireproof building in Montreal. The place burned right down with him in it. Mm-hmm. He was one of their members that had decided that, well, he wanted to think things over. He was not going to get initiated at a time that the spirit said he would like him to be initiated into the society.
So in reality, Roger, you were chosen by high-powered demon spirits to be a part of their human, special, privileged group.
You see, these people in Montreal, the society, like the priest mentioned, there's thousands of spirit worshippers in only different societies of spirit worshippers in this world. But he says, we are the elite. We know the real truth about the master and his angels. And they're not hideous-looking beings. They are gorgeous creatures. And from the paintings that they had on the wall of the walls of that worship room, they were unique beings. Especially there was a painting full size, full length painting of the fallen Lucifer above his altar, and that was very fascinating because he looked like a man of great intellect, high forehead, the way that he looked with his eyes, the way he had the eyes looking. It gave you a depth of perception of somebody that is very, very knowledgeable and powerful. Yeah.
So Roger, this high priest that you talked about, he is the one that ushered you down into the worship room. Mm. Was he also the one that led out in the praise sessions that you talked about?
Yes, and he had an assistant also, another priest.
Okay. Now, when you would go to these praise sessions, what kinds of things happened at those sessions?
Well, there's a lot of success stories.
Positive mental attitude kinds of things?
Well, yes, a lot of success stories. The masters has done this for me and that for me. I remember one lumber dealer, he had like half a dozen different operations around Quebec. And everything that he touched seemed to turn to money. You know? And he was telling about it. And then there's this other person that was a clairvoyant that would work only for the wealthy people, only for the super wealthy. He says, I have the know-how, they have the means, let them pay. So he advised in business transactions. They would come to him and say, listen, I look at this deal that I might get, this factory or whatever it is, like, because this person was interested in industrial real estate, see. And he would talk to the spirit, and then the spirit was audible to him. See, you could hear the spirit talk to him, but the man did not hear. So the spirit was telling the clairvoyant what, well, he called himself an astrologer, reading the moons and the stars, and
Now, what was the term you used for his title, this man?
Clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant.
Oh, clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant. Yes, and it was interesting. This person stood up and says, I had a nice little experience last week. And he says, the master, he says, they take care of you. This lady and her husband brought him to this astrologer a bundle of money. They said, this is the deal that you, and he works at only on percentages. Only on percentages. He doesn't work for set amounts of money. Only percentages of what the people are going to make. So he said, they brought me a substantial amount of money. And they were very happy with it, and I thought it was very reasonable. But then my guide, spirit, says, ask them when they're going to give you the other $1,700 that is really yours. And he says to the folks, I would like to know now, before we leave here, when will you have the $1,700 to give me? That makes up my part of, rightful part of the deal. The wife fainted, and the husband says, we'll have the money for you in 24 hours. So that was this type of phrase.
So he was thanking the demons for helping him to know that.
Oh, yeah. Demon spirits, yeah.
At what point did this demon worship start to affect you personally, Roger?
Well, it wasn't too long that the priest mentioned to us that the time had arrived for us to start trusting the spirits and give the spirits a chance to work for us. And there was a number of gifts that you could choose from. You see. And I used to play the horses, some. Not knowledgeable at all. I used to go to those bookies, play the horses often. But I said, hey, I would like to be able to, for the spirit to instruct me on the numbers and the name of the horses that's going to win, at Belmont or some other racetracks like that, make myself a little money. So the priest says it'll be given you. And sure enough, one night whether I fell into a trance or dreamed the thing, I don't know exactly what happened, but I saw 3 races that were really going to pay big. And these horses were dummies, so to speak. You know what I mean? They were not really good horses. They were like one horse paid 21-1 because he was that poor, right? The chance of winning was so poor that they paid 21-1 on him. And it showed me I saw the board at the bouquet and the number on it. And I went there, and they said it was going to be on Saturday. That was like on Wednesday. A few days later, it was Saturday. I went there, and sure enough, there they were on the boards. I went to the wicket and handed some money and got myself a winner. Now I said, well, I'm a little crazy. I ought to put more money on there, so I put $20 onto the next horse, and that paid 21-1. So I left there with maybe $400 or $500 in my hands, and I started to do that. In this case, I went directly down to the finest men's shop on St. Catherine Street and bought myself a $200 suit.
And in 1946, a $200 suit was.
In 1946, people used to work at the RCA Victor, where I had worked before. I went to the Navy for $18 a week. Mm-hmm. And the good earners were $75 to $50 to $75 per week, for labor.
So the demon spirits looked on you so favorably, they began to help you win in your gambling.
Then I went to other bookies, you see. And one day, I am told of the man at the cage where you do your bet. He says, my boss would like to talk to you. And he said, you go right through that door over there. Oh, sure. So I know the guy says, come on in. The guy's sitting behind the big desk, smoking the big cigar. So he says, you're Roger. I says, yeah. He got up and walked around me. He said, you don't look that smart. I said, what, sir? You don't look that smart. He said that you could pick horses that are winners when they're supposed to be losers. Where do you get your help? What do you mean help? I'm not getting any help. I just happen to go and, oh no, we've been watching you here, he says, for a number of weeks. And you always leave here with some of our good money. And I'll tell you, buddy, if you want a list of all the bookies in Montreal, I'll give you a list of them. But he says, I want you out of here. And don't show up again. Because somebody's going to put a, you know what I mean. I said, okay, sir, I won't be back again. So it's a tough business being gambling.
So even with the spirit's help, it was tough.
Yeah. Well, it's stuff is going to shoot you, yes.
Yeah. The high priest would say a number of things to you when you were in these praise services, and you went to a number of them over a period of time. Mm-hmm. Talked about the issues of the great conflict. You've already touched on that a little bit. I want you to follow up on that a little bit more, Roger. Some of the things that you wrote in your book, Trip into the Supernatural, sounds a whole lot like what we as Christians today know as the Great Controversy. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that he told you there? Well, he says that there is a great controversy going between the force of good and evil, between Christ and Satan. And they always praise the great master, Satan, as a super intelligent being that he is, beautiful to behold. And if he ever appears to you, you won't be able to look upon him because it'll be too bright. It'll just ruin your vision. The high priest said he was in Chicago, and the spirit appeared to him and said, Morneau and his buddy, George, has invited them to the service, and the fellow that is in charge while you're away says that he's going to wreck all the work that the spirits have done for the last few years to get these people into the society. So the high priest, which is in Chicago, picks up the phone and calls, and the spirit appeared to him, and he said the angel was so bright that he could not look upon him. And he says after he picked up the phone to dial, he couldn't dial the phone because of the fact that his vision was so terribly blurred by the light, the beautiful light of the bright being. And he asked, dial 0, and the operator came on, and she had to, dial for him. And they talk about many, many things in regards to, who's going to win this conflict. Any discussion about fire and brimstone? Yes. He says, the Bible people, talk about the Christians, they read in the Bible that, we're all going to land in a lake of fire and this and that. So that's baloney. He says the conflict is going to end peacefully. Christ is going to realize that you might as well abdicate the rights of this planet, take his few people on with him to his planet in the center of the galaxies, and we will be left with a master who will resurrect all his people that will be as numerous as the sand of the sea. See? And the master will rule forever and ever and ever. A happy people. And he named some of the people that's going to be there. I don't want to mention the names because they're known to history. Yeah. So that was quite impressive. Did you always feel, Roger, that these people were telling the truth? Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, they really had things down straight. But I was not satisfied with the answers. And there was something, and I understand now it was the Spirit of God saying, hold back, fellow, hold back. And the priest had talked about us thinking seriously about being initiated into the right. So they let you come to sort of take a look, see, yeah. But you can't go back for several months. Oh yeah, it's not a matter of whether you're going to be initiated or not. It's when. Okay. You see. So they begin to press you for a commitment.
Well done.
So yeah, I just wanted to show that, and I know I showed a little bit more than what I said I was going to show. But there you have a witness. This was from the 1950s, bro. And there you have a witness from the 1950s saying, "Hey, look, from all the way back then, there was people who worshiped the devil in high up echelon rankings." He said he was in a room with people who are lawyers and doctors. So we got to keep in mind that some of the people that work for these news networks, these police departments, these Black Lives Matter movements, because a lot of black people don't understand now. Yeah, there are black devil worshippers now today. Freemasons, they're devil worshippers. They got a Freemason sanctuary up the street from my house. People don't even know what goes on in there. I'll show you guys. Give me a minute. Because I'm tired of all these deceptions and secrets, and you got to be ushered in, and you got to be commissioned in and sanctioned in this group and that group. There's so many secrets and lies and stuff, man. Don't nobody. I'm going to tell you now. What these Freemasons do in that temple is gay and nasty. Mm-hmm. Don't nobody believe me. Them people is gay and nasty, and they're perverted. Let me show you guys something. I know we're going a little bit off topic, talking about Christ Lives Matter, but when you see black people with the Freemason symbol, with the G and the two rollers over top of the G forming a triangle on the back of vans and trucks and SUVs, they are devil worshippers. There are real black people who worship a real literal Satan. So don't give me that crap that only white people worship the devil. That's not the case now. The devil doesn't have a people based off of skin. He has a people based off of sin. Just like God's people is a remnant at every nation, race, and tongue, Satan's people is the exact same way. So you just can't look at somebody now and tell they are a Satan worshiper. So don't be deceived because somebody's black or Chinese or Hispanic or white. Devil worshippers come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Mm-hmm. And we got to understand that the people who are running these race-baiting civil war organizations are satanic devil demon worshippers, just like the guy in that previous video from the 1950s said. And this stuff is still going on today, and it still is relevant, probably more than ever. I'm going to change my sound settings. I'm going to share the video with y'all, drop some knowledge on y'all, and then we're going to give our closing remarks. And then I'm going to go watch some Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood. That's my man. Y'all don't know about no Clint Eastwood, man. Old school.
You sure you're black?
We will now at this time cover the Masonic memorial service that is given to the deceased Mason at the request of the family. Usually this is given at the church or at the funeral home. The members present here in front of us are the family and friends. We will now give you the exact ritual as it's given in the state of Maryland, and in other states throughout the United States, the principle and the doctrines are exactly the same. The wording only varies slightly. Friends and brethren, we who are Masons have assembled on this occasion to express our respect and esteem for our brother who has passed beyond our mortal sight, and to share with those near and dear to him our belief in the immortality of the soul. In this time of sorrow, when we all need comfort and consolation, let us turn reverently to God, who in the midst of the trials and tribulations that are a part of life, can alone endue us with that quietness of spirit and that peace of mind and heart, which
Since Masons believe that the ritual is their authority, then please listen as Mr. Jack Harris, a former worshipful master of the lodge, continues to perform and explain the significance of portions of the entered apprentice degree, the first degree of Masonry.
We will now continue with our ritual in the first degree of Freemasonry. Mr. Smith, you are received into Masonry upon the point of a sharp instrument piercing your naked left breast, which is to teach you, as this is an instrument of torture to your flesh, so may the recollection thereof be to your conscience, should you ever reveal any of the secrets of Freemasonry unlawfully. Vouchsafe thine aid, Almighty Father of the universe, to this our present convention, and grant that this candidate for Masonry may dedicate and devote his life to thy service. Endue him with the competency of thy divine wisdom, that by the secrets of our art he may be better enabled to display the beauties of holiness of thy holy name. Amen. Mr. Smith, in times of imminent peril and danger, in whom do you place your trust?
In God. All right, as a former worshipful master, I want to ask you a couple things. First of all, we saw this segment with Bill Mencken, 32nd degree Mason, talking to Dr. Walter Martin. He said Masonry is not a religion and has no creed, no confession of faith, okay? Then we watched as you actually performed the ritual. And it seemed to me that you did have a creed, you did have a confession of faith. Tell us what you were doing and talk to both of those areas.
Okay, the first area dealing with being received as a Freemason into the lodge. You were received upon the penalty of a sharp instrument piercing your naked left breast.
Yeah, now that was pretty rugged. What do you think about that threat of punishment from a Christian point of view?
From a Christian point of view now, I believe that it's very hard for me to be a witness for Jesus Christ in the world, at the same time knowing I belong to an organization that is telling me that I must keep their religious secrets secret, or I will suffer a penalty of death. I have a hard time with this as a Christian.
Okay, you got a secret organization versus an open one.
All right, I'm back. About that, bro.
That was crazy.
That's not even a whole secret. That's just a piece to this weird puzzle. But they take oaths, they take blood oaths, and the swears and the oaths, they get more and more violent and more wretched as you keep on going up the line.
Right.
And if I tell you this, you can cut this side and hang me this way and shoot me that way. Like, oh, Lord, like, what kind of stuff is this?
Definitely not of God.
Crazy stuff, man. And so this is what our black people get into when they get into these Freemason cults. And they think they into something because they get into it for business reasons and stuff. And they don't really know, like when you get to the tippy top, that's when you find out, oh, this thing is about the devil. But they don't know this stuff, man.
Right.
It's crazy, man. I'm actually gonna close, dog. I know we gotta start keeping these things short. You gotta start having a timer or whatever. But man, as we keep on getting down to the time when Christ is gonna return, whatever that's gonna be, man, all people everywhere, in all places, in all nations, in all groups, we all need to realize that the only way we're gonna have peace is by surrendering our lives to Jesus Christ and understanding that not only the lives of cops, the lives of blacks, the lives of Hispanics, the lives of Egyptians, Africans, the lives of all people, all of our lives hold in the balance of God. And one of the most important lives, who he gave his life up for us, was Jesus Christ. He died on the cross for all of our sins 2,000 years ago. For every murder, for every cop killing, for every black execution and slaying, for every anti-white execution style murder, Jesus Christ died for all of that, past, present, and future. And we got to remember not to put our faith in the system. Don't put our faith in the government. Don't put our faith in people, because it's going to fail us. We need to put our faith in God. We need to come together as Christians. We need to be the people that the world looks to in situations like this and asks us, how can we make things better? How can we make things right? And then us as Christians, we need to be able to give reasonable, rational, logical answers and make rational decisions and not just get riled up by our emotions like the world. I've seen Christians, black Christians, white Christians, so many different people of faith going at each other online like they were in the world. Kirk Franklin made some tweets cussing on Twitter, using profanity. And all these other Christians, they were just basically drinking the Kool-Aid. And so they weren't even wise enough to come to the conclusion that, hey, no matter what this government says, no matter what the news says, no matter what people on social media say, all I know is that both sides are not right. It's never all right to murder anybody on any side. We can't respond with violence. We need to respond with rationale and logic and reason. That's what our Facebook page is dedicated to, the religion of reason. We are the thinking religion. We are supposed to be thinking when things like this happen. We need to come up with the most rational, logical conclusion. And that's not what I see on Facebook. That's why we do what we do. Teaching people apologetics, teaching people how to defend their faith, teaching people how to have rational conversations with people so we can actually get somewhere. And I haven't been seeing that a lot on Facebook. I haven't been seeing that on the news. Where are the Christians at who actually are thinking before they act? We need Christians like that who are willing to stand up, who are willing to make smart decisions and decisions that are going to take us from point A to point B in a swift way. So, number one, like I said, black people, we need to police ourselves, meaning we need to handle things amongst each other. Number two, when things like this do happen, where somebody outside of the black community, a white man, a Puerto Rican man, a cop, an FBI agent, we need to go through the right legal procedures so we can see justice instead of seeking vengeance. We as Christian peoples do not seek revenge. Revenge is of the Lord's, but we do seek justice. And we need to do it the right way. We need to do it the rationale way. We need to do it the right way. Because if we go and we do the same exact things that other people do to us as Christians or as black people or as white people or whatever, you are no better than the other side. And the last thing we need to do is we need to forgive. We got so much hatred and so much bitterness and so much venomousness in our spirits on both sides that's been being built up for the last couple hundred years. And unfortunately, the media, the government, the powers that be, they understand this. They understand that people ain't got over nothing. People have just been bottling up their low emotions, and they can act on that, so they can divide us, so they can conquer over us and have us fighting each other and killing each other.
Right.
And like the last man is, we need to turn back to God. We need to, like as some people say, let go and let God. But we also need to understand that our God is a God of logic. We logos. God's title, logos, means the pinnacle of logic and reason. And that's why I push that so much. Because if you don't have people that think, you're going to have people that act. And animals don't think. Animals don't have rationale. They just do. We are so much better than that as people who are made in the imago Dei, the image of God. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of coming on here and year after year, again and again. I got to keep on setting people straight. Why do we have to keep on doing this year after year, month after month, shooting after shooting, where people just forget everything that we have taught them and they go back into their little primitive ways? You know, for people who say they don't accept evolution because evolution makes a monkey out of them, I'll tell you this. At some points in times, man, the animal kingdom has more love than people have towards each other.
It's true.
So I said what I had to say. From now on, man, I'm just gonna sit back. I'm just gonna watch everything from my hilltop. I'm looking over the trees. I'm just watching everybody else go through the forest. I told people what to do so many times. People don't listen. People just want to do what they want to do, feel how they want to feel, get all in their emotion. I'm seeing black people saying F the police, and I hope they all die. So what? A couple of effing cops died. Like, how Christian is that? I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. And you know what? We're mourning the death of all of our sons. You know, white, black, Chinese, Hispanic. But when are we as a people going to start mourning the death of God's son like he was our son and start doing what God wants us to do instead of what we feel as if we should do? That's another reason why we need to have strong leaders, strong black men who are Christians, strong in their faith and strong in their rationale. Pete, you got something you want to say before we close out, bro?
Yeah, I just think that in times like these, I don't think that anything material can really work here. I don't think that who we choose as president is going to change anything drastically. I think we're still headed on the same path. It's a spiritual war, not a physical one. So while we're still here on this earth, I think that we need to just win as many souls to the Lord as we can, and just pray that God gives us more time before he comes back to win those souls before, of course, the time of Jacob's trouble occurs. So that's all I got to say.
Amen. I mean, who's to say? Let's say Christ will come back tomorrow and he catch us in the streets having a race war as Christian people. We should be ashamed of yourselves. And I'm not even getting on black people. And black people, my people too, because I'm black. I'm getting on Christians. We should know better than this, man. I'm highly disappointed and upset at our people. And I feel like Paul, where I got to keep on rebuking this and keep on putting this on track. And like, no, we are not of this world. We just passing through. Why are you getting involved in race riots and police wars and just craziness, man? We need to let the world do what the world is going to do. The world has been in division forever. But we as Christians, we need to stay strong. We need to stay together. Black, white, yellow, red. We need to stay together. We need to stay in unity, because in time like this, the world looks to the church for validation for these things. And if the church is speaking out on these things and having a racist response, then we're giving them validation and fuel to the fire. And they're going to start doing all of this stuff in the name of Jesus. And we really don't want any of that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of it, man. I'm sick of it, man. And I'm just scrolling on Facebook, just pissed. That's why for you know, the end of the day, I just stopped going on Facebook, man. I stopped checking my phone because I don't want to hear it, man.
Yeah, I can't stop checking Facebook. It pisses me off.
That's all I'm seeing. And especially if you go on Instagram, you will see the true hearts of black racists. Oh my! And some people say black people can't be racist. I'll witness it. I've seen it. F these effing crackers. What do people not know? I have a best friend that's white. You guys seen him, my co-host, Michelangelo. That guy's my best friend. And for people to just say F somebody because they are white, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. By definition, that is racist. And you know, it's just this. The left pushes it. The left is going to claim to be the moral high ground for racial tensions and everything. It's like the left is the most anti-racist thing you can be. Liberalism, modern liberalism, is extremely racist. They are the culprits of the Klan, of Black Lives Matter, of the Black Panthers, of this Black Power group that apparently the shooter was a part of. And La Raza, which is the Mexican version, and all they support is violence, and they support jihad. They support the Muslims, and they support Muslims, and they support gays, right? They don't really support gays, or else they wouldn't be supporting Muslims. This is just how the left works, and then they enslave the minorities with the social welfare, making them not want to work. Oh, let me just survive on these checks and everything, and it's crazy. The amount of people who are out of work is, what is it? Is this a record? What we have right now? It's insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm out of a job too until September. That's when the school year starts. So at least I get to go back to work. But this is my summer break right now.
Right.
And I'm kind of happy this didn't go on in the school year because I could see it now at the school I'm at. The school I teach at it's a mixed school. It's a melting pot. But with racial tension going like the way it is right now, and kids don't think about these subjects in depth, the first thing the kids are going to say are going to be the same exact thing that adults are saying on Facebook. Oh, F white people. And then the white kids are going to say, well, black kids are thugs. Now you have a race war inside of these schools, and that could get really dangerous because there's probably more little young boys, more teenagers that have guns more than adults. But these parents that don't know, most of your children are packing heat and you don't even know about it. I know more kids right now on hand who have guns than adults, and that's sad. It's scary. So thank God this stuff isn't going on during the school year, because if it were, you'd be having kids and teenagers running around killing each other, which we still have that now, but it would be a whole lot worse. I'm just sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And the church needs to stop being so gullible. This is why I push rationale and reason and logic and critical thinking so much, because we need it in the church. We need it, because I'm not always going to be here on these YouTube broadcasts and going on Facebook, and people like me are going to be able to hold people's hand along the way to shepherd everybody every little step. You need to think for yourself as a Christian. It's a disgrace of how many Christians that follow the crowd that live in America today, that's in the world today. It's ridiculous, bro.
Mm-hmm.
How many Christians can you count, bro, on hand that you've seen that fell for this?
I don't know any personally, but then again, I really don't know any Christians in person. So I mean, on Facebook and on the internet, I saw a lot, but personally, I don't know anybody.
Yeah, we gotta get you out of that city, bro. Yeah, you gotta come to Philly. You'll meet a whole bunch of black Christians. I say that because the city is mostly black anyway. But it's not a black or a white thing. It's a sin thing. People gotta understand. People are evil. Period. White people, black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, Chinese people, whatever. Everybody is evil and wicked. We all need a savior. We all need Christ. And in times like this, we need to understand that Christ's life matters. It mattered on the cross 2,000 years ago, and matters today. And we can still change the circumstances. We can still change the atmosphere. But if we respond the way the government, the elites, the way these race-baiting organizations, the KKK, the Black Lives Matter movement, if we respond the way they want us to respond, instead of thinking for ourselves, then we're going to have another race war. And I think we are in a race war right now. And I think Christians, we need to be the ones out here policing the world.
Absolutely.
So, that's what I think. I'm about to go, though. Somebody actually just called me, too. I'm going to talk to one of my friends who just called me. They probably asked me about this subject, too. So I'm about to go, man. Somebody said they tried to get in, too. But I'll talk to you later, bro. We've been on here long enough.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bro.